This is the KBS 9 o'clock news. Former Korea Communications Commission chairperson Lee Jin-suk, who had been arrested by the police, has been released after about 50 hours. The court has accepted former chairperson Lee's request for a review of the legality of her arrest. Reporter Min Jung-hee will first deliver the reasons for the court's decision to grant the request and the future direction of the police investigation. Former Broadcasting Commission Chair Lee Jin-suk, who appeared in court with handcuffs on both hands, strongly protested that her arrest was still unjustified. After about an hour of deliberation, the court accepted the request for a review of the legality of the arrest filed by former Commissioner Lee. The court judged that at this stage, the necessity of the arrest no longer remains, and stated that, above all, detention of a person must be carried out with caution, as the reason for its decision. The court also took into account that the investigation of former Chairman Lee had already progressed considerably and that he promised to appear faithfully in the future. The court, however, stated that it is difficult to completely deny the legality of the arrest itself. The court pointed out that it is true that former Chairman Lee did not comply with the investigation agency's summons, and it is difficult to believe that he was unaware of the summons. Following the court's decision to grant the request, former Chairman Lee, who had been waiting in a police detention cell, was immediately released. The police stated that they respect the court's decision, while also expressing the position that the court acknowledged the necessity of the investigation and the legality of the arrest. The police plan to continue the investigation after coordinating the schedule of questioning with former Chairman Lee, who remains a suspect not yet under arrest. This is Min Jung-hee from KBS News. The repercussions in the political sphere are spreading further. The People Power Party intensified its offensive, claiming that this incident revealed the investigation to be politically orchestrated, while the Democratic Party of Korea showed a contrasting response, suggesting that such occurrences demonstrate the need for judicial reform. This is a report by reporter Park Young-min. The People Power Party immediately expressed a welcoming stance upon hearing the news of former Broadcasting and Communications Commission Chair Lee Jin-suk's release. They emphasized that the court has in effect confirmed that this case was a politically motivated investigation, and that the reckless actions of the political police only revealed falsehood and incompetence in court. Lawmakers from the People Power Party, who personally visited the court where the legality of the arrest was reviewed, warned that they would pursue legal responsibility to the end for the unlawful investigation process. The Reform Party argued that it must be thoroughly investigated whether senior officials pressured for measures to mitigate the impact surrounding the so-called Kim Yi-ji incident. The Democratic Party strongly criticized the decision, saying that it goes against the common sense and legal principles of the people. It was assessed that, considering former Chairman Lee's refusal to appear and the urgency of the investigation, this decision is completely unjustified and has set a dangerous precedent that could undermine judicial trust and the principles of the rule of law. They strongly urged the judiciary to make a responsible judgment, saying that this is why the public is demanding judicial reform. The Fatherland Innovation Party stated that this measure merely means he should faithfully participate in the forthcoming investigation and urged former Chairman Lee to actively cooperate with the investigation with a reflective attitude. This is Park Young-min, KBS News. The presidential office today asked the broadcasting company to postpone airing the Chuseok special episode of the entertainment program featuring the president and the First Lady. The presidential office explained that the decision was made in consideration of a period of mourning following the death of a National Information Resources Service official. The People Power Party, which has raised suspicions about the president's actions after the fire, demanded an apology, saying that the president was focused only on image politics related to the golden time during the fire. This is a report by reporter Lee Won-hee. Ahead of Chuseok, President Lee Jae-myung and his wife finished recording a Chuseok special episode of a cooking competition program on a general broadcasting channel. Although the intent was to promote the charm of Korean cuisine, the spark of controversy began at the time of the recording. Previously, Representative Ju Jin-woo of the People Power Party claimed that the filming took place after the fire at the National Information Resources Service and that President Lee remained silent without convening a meeting or visiting the site regarding the matter. At the time, the presidential office refuted the claim, stating that it constituted the dissemination of false information. As the controversy spread, the presidential office requested the broadcaster to postpone the airing today and also released the detailed schedule for the day of recording. The presidential office explained that while it is true that the recording took place on the 28th of last month, an emergency response meeting was held in the morning, and after finishing the recording in the afternoon, the president also presided over a Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasures meeting. However, the People Power Party criticized that the golden time for crisis response was wasted on filming an entertainment program. It also pointed out that the filming date was disclosed only due to public pressure, and there was no sincere apology. In response, the Democratic Party countered that this was an excessive political offensive. They then asked whether there was no interest in overcoming the national crisis and restoring people's livelihoods, and criticized them to stop hindering state affairs. This is Lee Won-hee from KBS News. Japan is expected to see its first ever female prime minister. The main figure is Takaichi Sanae, a politician with strong conservative views. She was elected as the new president in the ruling Liberal Democratic Party leadership election in Japan. In Japan, which has a parliamentary system, the leader of the ruling party becomes the prime minister. It is a victory that overturned expectations for the so-called female Abe, who pledged to follow former Prime Minister Abe's political path. First, we will analyze the election results and examine how they might affect future Japan-Korea relations. This is correspondent Wang Jin-woo in Tokyo. The result of the Liberal Democratic Party presidential election in Japan was received as an unexpected turn of events. Although Minister of Agriculture Koizumi was expected to have the advantage, former Economic Security Minister Sanae Takaichi took the lead in both party member votes and parliamentary votes, winning the runoff by 185 to 156. The consolidation of the conservative bloc is analyzed as the main factor behind the victory. Takaichi Sanae, a 64-year-old from Nara Prefecture, is a veteran lawmaker serving her 10th term, a conservative figure known as the female Abe, and the president of the Liberal Democratic Party. She emphasizes an expansionary fiscal policy that succeeds Abenomics and aims for a strong Japan through the revision of the pacifist constitution. During her time as a cabinet member, she consistently visited the Yasukuni Shrine, where Class A war criminals from the Pacific War are enshrined, and also expressed the view that a minister-level official should be dispatched to the Takashima Day event. Takaichi, the party leader, is expected to be appointed as Japan's first female prime minister at the National Diet on the 15th. What is noteworthy at this point is the past actions of the newly appointed Prime Minister Takaichi. We will now connect with correspondent Wang Jin-woo to learn more about what impact this might have on Korea-Japan relations. Correspondent Wang, isn't it known that President Takaichi has shown a rather firm stance on visits to the Yasukuni Shrine and issues related to historical awareness? It's hard not to consider the impact this may have on Korea-Japan relations. What are the prospects regarding this? At the press conference held after the election today, President Takaichi briefly mentioned foreign affairs issues. He emphasized that it is important to firmly strengthen the U.S.-Japan alliance and stated that there are situations in which South Korea, the U.S., and Japan need to cooperate. If the newly appointed President Takaichi assumes office as Prime Minister, the extent to which a hardline stance will be maintained on issues such as territorial disputes and historical perceptions is considered a key variable in Korea-Japan relations. The first test for him is expected to be the Yasukuni Shrine Autumn Festival, which will be held between the 17th and 19th, a few days after he assumes office as Prime Minister on the 15th. Whether Prime Minister Takaichi will visit the Yasukuni Shrine during this period is expected to be a major point of interest. Newly appointed President Takaichi also personally visited the Yasukuni Shrine on August 15 this year, the anniversary of Korea's Liberation Day. However, during this election process, she appeared to avoid giving direct answers, seemingly mindful of the votes of lawmakers concerned about frictions in Korea-Japan and Korea-China relations, unlike last year. At this evening's press conference, he was asked related questions, but only gave a somewhat ambiguous response, saying that he would make a decision at an appropriate time. Among Japanese experts, various opinions are being presented regarding this matter. While some believe that he will continue his existing hardline stance to meet the expectations of the conservative base that supported him, others predict that he will respond cautiously, given his clear understanding of the importance of South Korea-US-Japan cooperation. The leaders of South Korea and Japan are expected to meet at the APEC summit to be held later this month. Our government has stated its position that it will continue to maintain close communication with Japan's new cabinet and continuously develop the positive momentum in Korea-Japan relations. This has been Wang Jin-woo with KBS News from Tokyo. In the West Sea, there is a provisional measures zone, where the exclusive economic zones of South Korea and China overlap. Earlier this year, our research vessel was blocked by the Chinese side, leading to a standoff between the coast guards of both countries. According to KBS coverage, it has been confirmed that such obstruction by China has not been a one-time incident but has been repeatedly carried out habitually. This is an exclusive report by reporter Oh Dae-sung. This photo was taken by our Coast Guard in February this year in the provisional waters between Korea and China in the West Sea. Two Chinese Coast Guard vessels approached to a close distance. It is a situation where the Chinese Coast Guard blocked a research vessel from the Korea Institute of Ocean Science and Technology that was attempting to inspect a maritime structure illegally installed by China. Our Coast Guard also responded and confronted them for about 2 hours. However, this was not the first time China had interfered with the investigation. According to KBS's investigation, over about 6 years since 2020, our marine surveys were conducted a total of 135 times, and among them, Chinese interference occurred 27 times, about once in every 5 surveys. The Korea Institute of Ocean Science and Technology faced the most interference, with 19 incidents, followed by the National Institute of Fisheries Science with 4 and the National Oceanographic Research Institute with 3. In April, the two countries attempted dialogue regarding the standoff in the West Sea, but even in May, the Chinese side continued to interfere with the activities of our research vessel observing whales. The government stated that it is responding to China's interference at the same level, but due to the numerical inferiority of naval forces, an actual proportional response is not an easy task. This was Oh Dae-sung for KBS News. Video editing by Park Yoon-soo, and the weather was presented by Bae Hai-ji. You must have been busy again today preparing holiday food. From oily pancakes to sweet rice cakes, there is a wide variety to enjoy, but for those who need to manage their blood sugar, the holidays can still be a burdensome test. To find out how much blood sugar rises compared to usual when eating holiday foods, reporter Song Young-gook conducted a comparative experiment with advice from an obesity specialist. An adult woman who thoroughly practices health management in her daily life. After attaching a device that shows blood sugar changes in real time, she is provided with a standard diet prepared by the hospital. The meal started with a blood sugar level of 105. Even while finishing all the prepared food, the blood sugar did not rise significantly. The blood sugar reached its peak only 1 hour and 25 minutes after starting the meal and returned to a stable level within 2 hours afterward. The next morning, a single serving was composed to evenly include a variety of foods typically placed on the Chuseok ancestral ritual table. When we prepared the meal in portions similar to what is actually eaten during the holiday to reflect a realistic situation, the amount of food and calories naturally increased. Blood sugar began to rise halfway through the meal. Even though not all of the prepared food was eaten, the blood sugar level spiked sharply. It took 42 minutes for the blood sugar to reach its peak that day, which was more than twice as fast as the previous day. After that, the blood sugar level remained high at around 140 for more than 4 hours. Our body secretes insulin to absorb glucose from the blood into the cells. However, when blood sugar rises rapidly, excessive insulin is released, leading to various problems. Simplifying the holiday table setting and consuming an appropriate amount of food is not only beneficial to health but also does not go against traditional etiquette. When eating holiday foods, consuming fiber-rich foods such as vegetables first and engaging in light exercise like taking a walk after the meal can help better manage blood sugar levels. This is Song Young-gook from KBS News. We will continue with the next report. Reporter Park Kyung-won, the Jinju Lantern Festival has finally opened. It is said to be called two different festivals with completely different moods during the day and at night. Just how dazzling is this city? Yes, I'm currently inside Jinju Fortress, where the Lantern Festival has just begun. A little while ago, about 70,000 lanterns were lit all at once, starting with the spirit-inviting lighting ceremony. As you can see, colorful lanterns are beautifully adorning the autumn night of Jinju Fortress and the Nam River. The Nam River lanterns originated from the lamps that were floated during the Battle of Jinju Fortress in the Imjin War to block the enemy and send regards to families. Lanterns recreating the Battle of Jinju Fortress are on display, and lanterns that reflect traditional culture as well as those shaped like characters from fairy tales are beautifully glowing. In particular, the lanterns floating on the Nam River beyond Jinju Fortress are the highlight of this festival. This year, moving lanterns incorporating 3D hologram technology, and a spectacular drone show will be newly showcased. The Wish Lantern Tunnel, where citizens hang lanterns filled with their own wishes, is also one of the must-visit attractions. The dazzling fireworks display is also one of the must-see attractions that should not be missed. The Jinju Namgang Lantern Festival, which opened today under the theme, The River of History, Embracing Peace, will continue for 16 days until the 19th. During the festival period, the lanterns will beautifully illuminate Jinju's autumn nights every day from 6 p.m. until midnight. This has been Park Gi-won from the Namgang Lantern Festival site for KBS News. Expectations for a ceasefire are steadily rising regarding the war in the Middle East's Gaza Strip, which has continued for as long as 2 years. In response to President Trump's ultimatum that they would see hell, Hamas released hostages, and Israel, which had remained unmoved until then, also began to take action. This was correspondent Kim Gi-hong. 4 days before the second anniversary of the Gaza war, Hamas announced that it would release all Israeli hostages, including remains. It was only 6 hours after U.S. President Trump issued a final ultimatum, saying that if they did not agree to his peace plan, they would see hell. The deadline was the morning of the 6th in our time, and it is estimated that about 20 of the 48 hostages are still alive. Hamas has stated that it is willing to transfer administrative authority over the Gaza Strip to an independent Palestinian body. It is not a full agreement with all 20 points of Trump's peace initiative, but a selective acceptance of only some of them. President Trump responded positively to this and urged Israel to halt the bombings. In response, the Israeli government also issued an order to temporarily halt the operation to occupy Gaza City. The wall you can see about 100 meters behind me is the separation barrier that divides Israel and the Gaza Strip. Until just yesterday, the sounds of gunfire and explosions were constant, but now they are hardly heard. The mediating countries in the Middle East are intensifying their preparations for follow-up discussions in anticipation of an end to the war. However, Hamas still has not commented on disarmament, the key issue in the ceasefire negotiations, and foreign media point out that this could lead to the continuation of Israel's military actions. At the Gaza separation barrier, this is Kim Gi-young for KBS News. Video editing and research were done by weathercaster Kim Jae-kyung.